sacred belief that this new nation will carry the torch of freedom, not just for itself, but for all of Africa and the oppressed peoples of the world. The Nigeria of our dreams was not a mirage. It was and remains a living aspiration, built on pillars of justice, equity, and shared prosperity. It is a vision of a country where ethnicity does not trump talent, where competence, not connections, is the true currency of leadership, and where public office is not a personal privilege, but a sovereign trust. What went wrong? The Nigeria we see today is not the Nigeria we dreamt of. Somewhere between the ecstasy of independence and the stark realities of today, the dream falls flat. We stumbled on the jagged rocks of corruption, danced too long with the ghost of mediocrity, and surrendered too frequently to the paralyzing cynicism of despair. Our institutions, once envisioned as pillars of progress, have buckled under the weight of impunity and ethnicity. The rule of law is often treated as an inconvenience. The social contract has frayed, and the moral compass of leadership has sprung widely of course. The once vibrant hope of a united, thriving nation has dimmed in the eyes of many, especially our youth, whose immense potential now languishes in frustration or bleeds out through the desperate exit of the so-called Japan syndrome. From the global spotlight in 1960, where Nigeria stood tall as a rising star, she has tragically become a cultural tale, a dwarf in many respects. We are hailed as Africa's beacon, rich in resources, vibrant in culture, and dynamic in population. But over 6 decades on, Nigeria has particularly underperformed and underachieved so persistently and so profoundly that her name now evokes disbelief, pity, or ridicule in international cycles. Consider India, our pair at independence, once a third world nation grappling with poverty and colonial hangovers. Today, India builds aircraft, has developed a locally produced cervical cancer vaccine, and commands respect among the world's naval powers with its homegrown aircraft carriers. India is now the world's fourth largest producer of passenger vehicles. In 2018 to 2019 alone, it rolled out over 4 million cars. And Nigeria would not even manufacture bicycles. This painful contrast underscores the consequences of missed opportunities, broken leadership, unenterprising citizenry, and arrested development. Every fault line imaginable is virtually cracking open. Insecurity festers across the land. Infrastructure lies in the ruins. Our public school system is gasping for breath, and our economy is hit under the weight of bad policies, under the way inflation, and the currency in free fall from a time when $1 exchanged for £1 to today, when over 1,600 naira chases a single dollar. The Nigerian passport has become a red flag at foreign airports. It's a symbol of suspicion rather than pride. Our global image tarnished by the case of corruption, fraud, and state failure. Our value system, once anchored on integrity and hard work, has been upended. The new gospel is money acquired at all costs, flaunted without shame. The youth, the sedition, and restless are caught in a whirlwind of get-rich-quick schemes, internet fraud, ritualism, and other dark pursuits. Religious institutions which ought to be moral beacons, have joined the parade. Wealth is worshipped from the pulpit. Celebrity pastors rather pour out in flamboyance. Mosques and churches reserve front rows for convicted looters and notorious criminals. Even our sacred spaces have not been spared the rot. If you go to a mosque now, you go to the church, the front row is for those with time as rich. We have watched this decay metaphize while many in high places looked the other way or worse, profited from the rot. The litany of woes is long. And for many Nigerians, the dream has faded into a nightmare. A source of his nation has certain a crippling hopelessness and a numbing despair. And yet, in the face of this bleak landscape, we must ask, is all hope lost? Is this the end of Nigeria's story? Can we no longer dream of a nation that works, that cares, that inspires? Reclaiming Nigeria's dream. Permit me to share my strong conviction with you. Yes, Nigeria can still rise and soar to the pinnacle of the hopes and glory that attended her upon her birth. We have the men, materials and resources, to transport us to the zenith of the rediscovery, blissful attainment and actualization of our potential, that apogee of redevelopment and prosperity for all our people. Indeed, it is safe to say that many of the views people hold about Nigeria are shaped by deep misconceptions, judging the country as one might judge a lengthy book by its cover. But there is far more to Nigeria than what often meets the eye. Every country has had its share of trials, and though we grapple with flaws, setbacks, and a heavy national debt burden, Nigeria in its real sense is a beautiful nation, blessed with astonishing natural landscapes, a dazzling array of cultures, and some of the most passionate, creative, and determined citizens on earth. It is deeply saddening that Nigeria's glory is often dimmed not by a lack of potential, but by the failures of those entrusted with power, and by a followership that has too often become passive. Still, being a Nigerian means a great deal. I count myself fortunate to be a citizen of this giant of Africa. Our country, for all her troubles, remains an indispensable voice on the continent, an economic powerhouse, and a cultural juggernaut. Though the present may seem bleak, the future remains open to transformation. It is not too late to turn this land of promise into a land of fulfillment. To reclaim Nigeria's dream, we must first reclaim our belief in the possibility of that dream. We must reject the defeatist narrative that nothing can change. Change does not come from the top alone. It bubbles up for the conviction of a determined people. The Nigeria of our dream is not a utopia. It is a Nigeria that works. It is a Nigeria where merit trumps mediocrity, where justice flows like a river, and where every child, regardless of ethnic group, religion, tongue, or class, has the opportunity to live with dignity and die with honor. It's a nation that listens to the heartbeat of its people and allows the soul of democracy to find expression not only in periodic elections, but in the daily dignity of citizenship. It's a place where leaders are not predators on the public purse, but custodians of the people's trust, where leadership is purposeful and followership is responsible. It's a nation where institutions are stronger than individuals, where the rule of law is not a slogan, but a sacred covenant. Reclaiming Nigerian's dream demands a rekindling of vision, and values. We must reimagine the country not as a victim, not as victims of its history, but as architects of its destiny. We must rebuild trust between government and the governed, among ethnic nationalities, across faiths and generations. We must rediscover the dignity of labor, the sanctity of truth, and the strength of unity. Most of all, we must believe again that our country, however flawed, is not beyond redemption. This work belongs to all of us. No one is too small to matter or too big to fail. Nigerian redemption will not be delivered by heroes or horseback, but by ordinary citizens doing extraordinary things. Living with integrity, speaking truth to power, raising children with values, and holding firm to hope even when the night is long. The dream is not dead, it merely sleeps, waiting for those bold enough, brave enough, and bold enough to awaken it. The elements of our dream. If reclaiming Nigeria's dream is aspiration, then identifying the elements of that dream is the compass that points the way. The dream we speak of is not abstract or ethereal. It is rooted in tangible ideas, and measurable goals. It finds expression in the structures, systems, and standards that define a functional and flourishing nation. These elements are the pillars upon which the Nigeria of aspiration must be built. Under this, I've listed elements, but these elements are not exhaustive, but they offer a framework for a Nigeria we must build. One dream, many pillars, each is necessary. None can be ignored. Together, they point to a destination that is both possible and worthy of our collective pursuit. One of such is the leadership of our dream. Many scholars agree that the greatest challenge in confronting Nigeria and chronically militating against our development is the plight of bad and mediocre leadership. Tinubu, in his seminal work, I quote, "The trouble with Nigeria," graphically captured this challenge when he stated that the trouble with Nigeria is fairly and squarely the absence of proper leadership. This statement, damaging as it may appear, is extremely difficult to controvert. Our leaders have, in the main, emerged through self-serving conspiracies that have little or nothing to do with national interest and development. This has been the case in both military and civilian contexts. In the light of the foregoing, our country has ended up with leaders who were not prepared for leadership. Indeed, some of these leaders were ab initio, even reluctant to take on the mantle of leadership. Accordingly, Nigeria has substantially been infested with leaders without preparation, knowledge, courage, patriotism, and character. Little wonder our country has spent too much time groping in the dark and struggling with common nuggets of development, such as basic infrastructure, primary health care, efficient democratic and judicial system, and a functional economy. A leader of our dream must be one who is prepared to lead, one who has shown character and resilience in the face of challenges. He must be that person who believes in the infinite possibilities that the Nigerian nation exemplifies while taking solid, proactive, logical, and well-informed decisions that will maximally actualize her potential. This leader must have the courage and audacity to act, build, innovate, and generally expand the frontiers of development with a hands-on approach that will emphasize excellence over mediocrity. Perhaps more importantly, the leader of our dreams must create a society of free and responsible citizens whose potentials flow freely and free enterprise Right. Yasajara, in his book, The Change CEO, holds that the development of Dubai is fundamentally traceable to the great leadership of Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the present leader of Dubai and his forebearers. Through vision, resilience, and discipline, they have transformed Dubai, an otherwise desert patch, into one of the most enchanting hubs for trade, commerce, and leisure. It is instructive to quote Yasser Jarrah, to which, in 1985, oil revenue made up 50% of Dubai's GDP. In 2009, it was just 5%, and it has continued to decrease, with a Bloomberg report in 2018 putting oil production at least than 1% of GDP. While tourism, to mention just one example, contributes close to 20% of GDP. The foregoing abundantly demonstrate that whereas Dubai, like Nigeria, is an oil producing country, its leaders, conscious of the fact that oil is a finite resource, decided to use the benefit of oil to proactively diversify the developmental trajectory of the economy in such a way that as it currently stands, with or without oil, Dubai economy is unshakable. This is how to plan. This is how to lead. This is the kind of leadership of the Nigerian of our dreams. Let me make bold. Let me make bold at this juncture to state that today in our country we have such a leader in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic. Our current president embodies a lot of the qualities that I have stated above. He has shown in several ways and at different times a stout commitment to the enthronement of democracy in our country, to the extent of even putting his own life on the line in the process. He has shown great capacity for engendering development as captured in the unprecedented rapid and exponential development of Lagos State under his watch and even beyond. On the first day upon this one in Ascended, he demonstrated rare courage by removing the hydra-headed fuel subsidy that was impoverishing generations of Nigerians and binding them into avoidable and perennial debt. Now, so many of our presidents before have said fuel subsidy is a scam, is a fraud. Yes, we know. What have you done? To show leadership, to show that you have courage. A leader is that having identified that this is wrong, and you say, okay, having known that this is wrong, I must take decision. A man that was sworn in that same day, he said, fuel subsidy, bye-bye. How many people can have that kind of courage? Even though we know there will be problems. You say, what? I said that. I have to take a decision. It doesn't matter. I must show that courage. This scam, this fraud, other leaders have identified, and nobody has taken decision. I will take that decision. I have taken the decision. That's what they call leadership. Leadership is not, yes, that's the problem. Take decision to solving such a problem. If I take this one, I don't know what people will say. If you don't take decision, people will say something. You take decision, people will say something. So take decision. And that is what our president has shown today. It doesn't matter what anybody will say. If he did not take that decision, so many people would have been benefiting from that. Today, that decision he took has led to the point where so much money now goes to the state. I'm not talking about APC. I'm talking about leadership, right? I'm talking about what? Leadership, not party. As told you, Bola Tinubu, whether it's any party, whether it's not in a party, he has said that he can take decisions. He has shown leadership. It is not the party that makes you to be a good leader. It is the individual. After all, we have had presidents of different parties. All the parties. Nobody was able to take that decision. But as Wike has shown, if you like, it's an independent candidate. If you like, it's from any party, he will take decisions. That's what leadership is all about. Leaders before him all spoke about the evil of fuel subsidy, but none had the courage to dare the blackmail of removing it. Tinubu did, and certainly grappling with its inevitable, unintended, and sometimes orchestrated consequences of this movement. Today, our states have far more resources to develop. The debts are no longer piling, and the price of petrol is gradually but steadily adjusting downwards in tandem with the forces of demand and supply, and the state implementation of regulatory conditionalities. The overwhelming cry of over-centralization of power and resources at the national level, and the attempted abuse of the doctrine of federalism is being systematically addressed through the creation of zonal and regional commissions empowered to develop developmental impetus to the respective zones and regions so that power can truly return to the people. The security situation is being addressed through proper funding and the training of our army and other security forces. There's no doubt that with the recent presidential approval for the recruitment of forest guards across the country to take charge of our forests, bandits and terrorists will no longer find incubation points and free terrorists to operate. You agree with me? Everybody has complained about this forest. How do we do? What do we do? No president has ever come to say, okay, I must from forest guard. Those who go to the forest and say, get out from here. Get out. Enough is enough. It's not easy. It takes a leader who has the courage, who believes that the right thing must be done at the right time. Even though our president was here, nobody was bold to take care of our forest. But this president said, I have the courage. I will do it. And he has done it. What I tell people, you don't need to like anybody. No. Leadership is not about you liking me. Leadership is about you being courageous to take decisions that will help us to move forward. Just like the Chancellor said, I'm not the first minister of that city, right? No poor man lives in Matama. No poor man lives in Wusetu. No poor man lives in Asokoro. All are rich men. No poor man does business in central business area. They say they're untouchable. I said no. I said, I will touch you. If the right thing is not done, I will touch you. That is leadership. They didn't appoint me as a minister for beauty contest. No. I'm there to do the right thing. So when you see them complaining, I ask questions. Mention one poor man that has a house in my town. Oh, rich men. You don't want to pay your tax, you will pay. You will pay. If you don't pay, I will touch you. And heaven will not fall. Rather, heaven will be at peace. Finally, let the point be made that no leader, no matter how endowed, equipped, and selfless, can truly succeed without the support and cooperation of the citizenry. Nigerians must wake up from years of cynicism, indifference, and hopelessness to embrace this new era of renewed hope led by Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. No nation has made any reasonable progress without the robust cooperation and collaboration of its leadership and followership. South Africa, for instance, under Mandela, achieved independence and made progress as shown in his book, Long Walk to Freedom, through this cooperation. Dubai is recording all these great feats through synergy between its leadership and followership. For as Jara put it, Dubai had a leader who acted quickly and swiftly, not shaken by the challenges, and had his people backing him and believing in his vision. If we don't support the president now, all his efforts will be in vain. A leader takes a decision and gets the support of his people. So, not when a leader takes a decision, you say, oh, you look at this from the point of party and a member of PDP. Therefore, when the president wants to help the country move forward, anything he does, I will support because I'm a member of PDP. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. In time of crisis, you must rally around your leader to be able to succeed. If there is insecurity somewhere, people are being killed. You don't come out to criticize the leader. You must rally around and give him support. That is how countries succeed. Look at it in America. If anything happens, whether you like Trump, you don't like Trump, all Americans will say, this attack is against America. We all Americans must stand up and rally around our country. But yeah, if anything happens in Brunei, in Yobe, in Oyo, or anywhere, instead of us to rally around and say this is our country, let's kill behind our leader. We say, oh, PDP does not share with this. APC shares with this. Labour Party, we don't know what is going on. That is not how a country can move forward. Parties are just vehicles to convey you to where you are going. We must rally around our leader. Everything you don't like, simply, he's not a member of your party. He's not a member of your church. He does not attend. He's not a Pentecostal person. He's not an Anglican. He's not a Catholic. He does not attend this mosque. He attends the other mosque. That is not a way we can move forward. This is the right time to rally around the leader. And you will see successes will be made. Don't look at it from party point of view. That's why when the Rabbi in Prayer was speaking, he said, we don't belong to the same party. We must not belong to the same party. This is time to serve. It's not every time criticism. They've given you opportunity. So, that you are really working for Nigeria. And that's why I tell anybody, whether you like it or not, I will give all my support to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because he has shown that he has that leadership, he has that courage. Under him, there's nothing like cabal. Under Tinubu, there's nothing like what? Cabal. It's not a leader, you discuss something with you before you leave. Or maybe you leave, something else has happened. They begin to ask, who is in charge of the country? This is the president that's in charge. He takes decisions. He will always tell you, I've taken my decision. I pray to God to help me that will succeed. But for the decision, I have taken it. I will not be a president that you ask when the president says, I have said something. And it's for all of us to kill and make sure that the system works. That's the essence of the whole thing. Now, the time for belief is here. The time for action is also here. Together with President Tinubu, we can, as a people, begin the real process of building Nigeria of our dreams. Infrastructural development, building the foundation of progress. Infrastructure is not merely about roads and bridges. It's about connecting destinies, unlocking potential, and laying the physical and digital groundwork for national transformation. The Nigeria of our dreams cannot materialize without robust infrastructure. It's a place where a child in a rural Zamfara should access the same quality of education, healthcare, and opportunity as one in urban Lagos. It's a nation where seamless transportation, uninterrupted power supply, and digital innovation are not luxuries but essentials, woven into the fabric of everyday life. Infrastructure is architecture of equality. It delivers dignity, inclusion, productivity, and hope. Even the strongest critics of the Excellency, President Ahmed Tinubu, will agree that things are getting better as far as infrastructure is concerned. In this journey towards realizing the Nigeria of our dreams, it's about necessary and noble to acknowledge the efforts of President Tinubu. His renewed hope agenda is not just a mantra, it's a bold recalibration of national priorities aimed at repositioning Nigeria on the path of sustainable development. Through massive investment in infrastructure, President Tinubu has demonstrated a commitment to tackling the inherited complexities of our federation with candor and courage. Without infrastructure, development is crippled. With it, progress is not only possible, it is inevitable. The road to Nigeria we envision is paved, quite literally, with concrete investment in infrastructure and with leadership bold enough to see it through. The rapid transformation of Abuja today is a clear testimony to the President's dedication to infrastructure revolution in Nigeria. It goes without saying that although I drive the process in Abuja, it would not have been possible without the overwhelming and ceaseless support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR,